Prison worker Velez-Mitchell was also apparently supposed to be the getaway driver, but is said to have had some sort of a panic attack and blacked out at the last moment. Now, she is married to another prison worker who is also now under investigation. Criminal defense attorney Janet Johnson joins us now with some legal analysis of the case. Janet, always good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, Lynn.
We expect to see Mitchell back in court on Monday. She's already pleaded not guilty. But put your sort of defense cap on. If you were defending her, how would you mount this defense? We're talking about a woman that spent the last few days giving police a tremendous amount of information. You would imagine that they would be urging her to do so that they would charge her with a lesser offense.
Right, and she hasn't lawyered up yet. You know, she was cooperating without the assistance of an attorney. So if a defense attorney comes in at this point, you sort of have to embrace what she's already done. You know, whether she was going to deny involvement, that bridge has already been crossed. Right. She can't do that. So what you would do as her defense attorney is I would come in and say, look at what she's already given you. You know, maybe she even has more ability if you let her out to lure them back into the area. And, you know, she was involved. They had her cell phone number. She could potentially be the trap that gets them back into town.
Interesting. Good point. Although you would imagine they have some access to television and would be watching what's happening. And the manhunt, that continues, by the way, these two men still on the run. Let's talk about the relationship with the inmates that she had. She said one of the men made her feel special. She had some sort of relationship with both of them. What role could that play in her defense?
Well, you know, it explains why she's in this position, you know, that you hear a lot of stories. And I actually knew a lawyer who married a client of hers while he was in prison. He got out, wiped out her bank account and stole her car. So it didn't end well.
Lesson learned.
Right. You know, and everybody around her knew that that was what was going to happen. But, you know, obviously, as the person in that situation, you know, whether she has depression or bipolar disorder or what it was that made her susceptible to, obviously what they were doing was a plan. They didn't just happen to fall in love with this woman. It was part of their scheme. And for whatever reason, she was susceptible to that.
And Janet, is that a defense? Could she say, no. I have bipolar disorder and I was lured by these guys, I was tricked? Is that really a defense? Would that hold up?
It's mitigation, Lynn. So I think, you know, at this point, what you're doing is you're limiting the damage. You know, you're falling on your sword. She's already helped them. So you're embracing that. And then to explain how this could happen. And if she had treatment or if she was appropriately medicated, she wouldn't be susceptible to doing that again. So you're basically saying, here's why she did it. Here's what she's done for you. And here's why she won't offend in the future if you don't give her prison time.
You know, I have to say, I was so sort of stunned to hear that her husband could face possible involvement. We don't have any more details other than that, as police say this is an ongoing investigation. But you see a little bit of her motive. They made her feel special. Maybe she thought they'd have a relationship. What possible charges could her husband face?
Well, interestingly, none yet, right? So he's not locked up and she is. So you wonder, is the mindset to keep them apart because maybe they were conspiring? But, you know, it's hard to imagine why he would enable her to enable these men who she may have fallen in love with, unless he was unwitting and there was somehow that she duped him into helping her, and that was helping these men. I don't know if he's going to be charged, but he certainly, you know, he was obviously involved because she didn't do this alone and they didn't do it alone.
Interesting. Janet Johnson, always great to have you. You have a great rest of your weekend.
You too.